Ugh.
Centipedes are not okay.
Centipedes are
Okay,
not
somebody
okay.
photoshopped the predator's
Well,
face on
centipedes
this,
actually
but-
have like a harmful, gross, like nasty bite. So
Yeah.
I think centipede.
Centipedes are terrifying.
I think centipede is okay, but millipede just really wasn't as good. That's my
All
official.
bugs are
that's-
disgusting.
I mean-
Side 5, Kurt.
Yep. Right. Alex,
Hi, this is On the
Alex
Stick
knows
After
what's up.
Dark. We're talking about centipedes and millipedes, not the classic arcade games.
We're talking about how much bugs suck.
We're talking about
Bugs
bugs.
suck. Fuck bugs.
bugs are vital to
Bugs
our
are
ecosystem.
vital to our ecosystem.
That's true.
They can be vital over there.
But not
Away from
mosquitoes.
me.
It turns out mosquitoes are apparently not vital to any particular food
Mosquitoes,
chain.
yeah, we can get rid of
We
those.
can get
Yeah,
rid
we
of
down
those,
with
I'm
that.
told. So.
can get rid of mosquitoes. But you know
I've
what
been
we
waiting for the green light for so long.
you know what we do need though is we need spiders and
You know
I'm
what?
happy to
Yeah,
have spiders
Spiders are good.
again over there.
All right. Do you
we
know
need spiders and bull bugs and worms and all those things. We need them a lot.
what we need right now is a rabbit with a sword. That's what we need, and that's what
We
we've
also
got because
bees.
tonight, we do need bees. Tonight we are playing. I am. Playing.
We need bees nuts.
Oh,
Oh.
Bees nuts.
2 minutes in, we're already
We
already
do
off the rails.
Already
we do
completely
desperately
off the
need
rails.
bees.
Yeah, we do.
God, please save the
Please.
bees because we're in a lot of trouble if we don't have bees.
Yep. Hey, it's Usagi Yojimbo.
Yeah, yeah. Stan Sakai's very own, which I don't remember exactly how he got, like, sort of inexorably tied to the Ninja Turtles, because he wasn't created by Eastman and
they were
Laird.
buddies.
Yeah, that right.
He was in the
Sakai
TV
buddies with
show.
Eastman and
Back in the
Laird.
day, all those indie comic book people did stuff with each other
Right.
because, it was all very niche.
But I think the thing that
Also,
what I find weird is that he crossed over into the cartoon and the action figure line, I guess.
I was
Like,
gonna say
didn't-
that the reason why he's inextricably tied to the franchise now is because he was in the cartoon, and that's where most people know the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So he's in this DLC. This is very strange because this level is a comic panel, and if you fall into the darkness between the panels, you lose health.
Wait, you're playing the darkness now? Wait, what?
Yes.
Are you
Also a
watching
comic
Kill a
book.
Mockingbird?
So
Also, with a voice partially by Mike Patton.
Mike Patton, yeah, also featuring the voice of Mike.
Are you
Patton.
saying Usagi Yojimbo's voiced by Mike Patton? Is that what you're
No,
No,
he sings the
sang
version of the
with
Ninja Turtles
Okay.
theme in
Yeah.
this game.
Yes.
Ah, I get it. All
And then
comes
he's
together.
also the darkness.
And
Yes.
then he
Yes,
also
I knew he was the darkness.
Is he also the voice of Jackie or just the darkness? I don't remember now.
I thought it was
Just
just
the
the darkness.
Yeah, just
He's also the voice of the darkness too.
Does he believe in a thing called love?
Maybe.
Yes. So
You know what Usagi means?
rabbit.
Yeah.
It literally
you know
means
what
rabbit
Usagi-
samurai.
Do you know what Usagi Yojimbo is?
This is
No, I don't know. What is it,
rabbit
Alex?
samurai.
Whoa, that's crazy,
So for those
man.
playing the home game, the Usagi Yojimbo comics are terrific.
So
Check them out.
one of my favorite things about this new, so this is survival mode. You unlock new stuff by doing it, and there's a power up that lets you turn into Shredder, which I just grabbed because
Nice.
I think it's neat.
Also, Stan
So-
Sakai is incredibly nice.
I sometimes feel like I confuse him and Larry
Twice.
Hama. Larry Hama did all the G.I. Joe comics for Marvel, right? And they're around
Yeah.
the same time frame.
Yeah.
That's, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and not say anything.
What?
They're both Japanese dudes who wrote comics in the 80s. Like that is where the confusion comes from.
It's just, yeah, sure.
So
Is this all this is just on this one panel?
So there's like several, there's 5 or 6 worlds in this
Oh, I
in
see.
the survival mode, and you have to collect 50 crystals to build like a big crystal that unlocks a thing. Apparently, you can unlock a black and white comic book palette for the main game by playing through this mode.
And you, as the basketball playing lizard man,
You cannot. So it does add 2 new
Well,
playable
games-
characters. You saw
is it Shredder and
No, well, so
Rabbit?
Shredder is only available in this mode with the power up. The other one is Karai, who is Shredder's daughter from the Mirage comics, and she was also probably best known to people who play video games as a playable character in the Super NES version of Turtles Tournament Fighters.
So not known to anybody.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, of course.
Hardly
everybody.
known to anyone. Yes.
Yes, so, right, pretty much not super well known. Although that game, like, I mean, all things considered, for a licensed fighting game from the 90s, that game is fairly well regarded, I found out when I made a video on it a few years ago. The Genesis
Okay.
and
Not saying it's bad,
NES
just no one played it.
versions, not so much, but... So yeah, so this is the main sort of thing that is added here, is this survival mode, which lets you unlock some more stuff.
I
But
kinda
you
thought
can
the main thing
also
was the
play
characters.
as Karai and the Rabbit Man. Oh, so there's a Game Boy palette for characters now, which is kind of neat.
Alright.
So
Ryan
actually,
Swayze wants to know if any of us saw the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
I did, and
No.
I actually liked it. I thought it was
I've heard good things. Yes.
I heard it was good.
I didn't, but I saw Barbie today, and I liked that quite a bit.
I also heard that was good. The thing that I really like about Ninja Turtles is that it has a very unique... Like, I think that once Spider-Verse came out and people responded well to it, now it's possible to make an animated movie that
Feel
doesn't
that
look
shit.
like a Disney or, like, Illumination Studios
Now every
movie.
animated movie is going to look like Spider-Verse.
I mean,
That's
Ninja
Just like
Turtles...
for a long time, all animated movies looked like Pixar movies.
Well, but Ninja Turtles doesn't really look like Spider-Verse.
No.
It just looks
It
different
looks
than,
different.
you know, a Disney movie or a Pixar movie or an
Definitely
Illumination
looks better than
Studios
the Michael Bay
Yes,
Ninja
for sure.
Turtles, for sure.
Also, it's apparently the first time
Hi.
that they've ever had actual teenagers do the voices of the
Did you
turtles.
guys see that video somebody made of the turtles with giant like mechanical dongs
My God,
No.
no.
from the
I
Michael
don't know if
Bay
we
thing?
frequent the same quarters of the internet.
It was really fun. It was really good.
All right.
Make sure Safe Search is on, kids.
Yeah, right.
Or not.
Or not.
It's just an Onion video.
Uh,
Michael Bay gives fans sneak peek at Ninja Turtles hyper realistic CGI genitals.
I think I have seen that actually. Now that you mention it.
I thought I
That was-
posted it at some point, but
Might have.
I would say that's possible, but
anyway, it's really good. They talk about how they want to make sure that they give each turtle one that reflects their personality.
Yeah.
That's really good. Anyway,
that tracks.
Man.
and then RoboCop shows up and shoots them all off.
Yeah. Remember the
so good.
80s? Yo, why are you getting your butt
So,
kicked?
because I've never used this character before.
Oh, okay.
Also, he's a scrub.
I mean,
Yeah, I was
also
gonna say,
I'm
you
a
sure it's
scrub.
because you're not a scrub?
No, I am not sure of that at all.
Press B to abandon.
But yeah, I like I went with my nephews and my brother-in-law to see the new Ninja Turtles, and I liked it. It has a ton of characters, which is surprising. Like, I didn't really expect that there would be so many references and so many characters. But there's a whole lot of stuff going on in that movie.
Low gravity.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. This is it's like this is my first time playing as Karai, and she seems pretty good. But Usagi Yojimbo is super fun to play as. He's got a ton of like crazy air combos. You can just gather a bunch of foot soldiers together and sort of like juggle them all until they're taken out. It's pretty good. She feels pretty good so far. I mean, again, all I've played is with her is what you've seen since I started this stream. But, you know, for what the...
8 Mario Kart 8 pizza.
Yeah.
Sorry, please.
Yes.
The Infinite Pizza.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't know. It's more of this game, which if you like this game, which I did, this is a good game. If you like beat 'em ups, this is a good one of those. It's not as good as Streets of Rage 4.
Now you can play
I
it
don't think.
as 2 new characters.
That's right. And there's a survival
I don't know
mode,
how excited I am about the endless mode, but new characters is good.
Which the endless mode, that's like the thing to add now, I guess, right? Like the like Streets of Rage 4 also added an infinite mode that was used to unlock. Yeah, that was used to. It's a little more roguelike-y though. The one in Streets of Rage 4, because like you unlock a power at the end of each round that's like permanent for the rest of that run. Which, like this one, you're trying to get the crystals, but also you can unlock temporary. Like I have a temporary power right now, but it ends after 3 rounds. So it's
You know, do you want to know why that's the mode that people add?
because people like them, or because they're cheap and easy to add.
Cheap and easy to add is what I was gonna say.
Right. Yeah.
Why would we make new levels when we can just use shit that we already have?
Well,
It's
actually,
like
the backgrounds in this one, at least the ones I've seen so far, which I've only seen 2 of them so far, but they're all new.
They're all
assets.
new. Okay.
The ones
okay, well, that's
in Streets of Rage was like a mix of. There were a couple of new ones and a couple that were based on existing assets. But it's always like it seems like so far they're always kind of paired with new characters, which is sort of like the thing that you actually want. It's like I want more characters to play as. So
I think that's just good marketing.
yeah. Because I mean, really, like what you're like, you know, I didn't like pay for this DLC because I'm super jazzed about the survival mode. I did it because
How much was this? How much was the DLC?
10 or 15. But I
How
think
much
it was
is
on
this game?
sale because it's brand new. Like it's on sale on the eShop right now. It's on, or probably on all platforms. It's on sale because the DLC just came out. I think like you can get the whole bundle for like 30, maybe? Or maybe even like 25, 27 for like the game and the DLC. But I'm not positive. Someone who's not actively playing the game can probably check on that for me.
What's the subtitle of this?
Shredder's Revenge.
Hearts of Darkness.
Uh-huh.
Shredder's Revenge plus DLC bundle $22.21
There you go.
on www.steam.computer.
Yeah, the game is $25 normally, but it's 30% off on the Switch store right now. So.
It is also 30% off on Steam.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's
Sale
probably-
ends 9/14.
There you go. So plenty of time to take advantage.
So buy now if you want like some guy and a lady.
Some guy. He's not just a
Just
guy.
some guy.
Alex.
He's a rabbit samurai,
Sorry,
Alex.
he's
Duh.
he's
We
not
were
a guy.
just going
that's-
over this.
Sorry, that's
Literally.
mean. He's not a guy. He's a rabbit. If you want a rabbit and some lady.
What if this game had a rabbit in it? Would you be more interested?
Oh, it has. Can it have a rabbit in it?
Yeah.
Yes. That is
That's
something we
cool.
can do for you. We can give you a rabbit.
And then there's like
Now I'm
rabid.
interested.
What if? And then it was like rabid versions of all the Ninja Turtles, and then there was like a tactical RPG.
And then there were Mario characters
now I'm
in it
getting kind of
also.
interested.
Yeah.
I said a tactical RPG. I was like trying to understand what the joke was. I'm like, I'm just lost. Is it that I like Baldur's Gate?
No, it was Mario and
Does that
Rabbids.
count as a
Oh.
tactical RPG?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, it
think
does.
Baldur's Gate. Does it really?
No, definitely.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. One
The
definitely.
combat
and
is
two,
definitely
the
tactical
rabbits,
RPG.
definitely. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's like a what do they call that? CRPG, but like
It's not
yeah,
though, because classical
not.
CRPG is it's like real time with pause, basically, and like this is turn-based tactical RPG for sure.
I the Beholder didn't have pause in it.
I mean,
I'm talking about classic Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale.
yeah. I
That's
was gonna say
why I
Baldur's
see
Gate
Oh,
1
you
didn't.
mean post 1994?
Yeah. I actually
Not
really
come
just
lately.
mean those very specific games that were on the Infinity Engine.
Yeah.
Because yeah, there's all those like the gold box games, and then all the first person first-person computer, like it's such a broad thing, but I feel like when people say CRPG, they're very specifically referencing Infinity Engine style games.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I think I'm just old enough that I never felt that way. Like they were in the group, but in my mind, CRPG is just any really granular Western style RPG where you can do fucking anything, and it's probably very janky.
You guys want to hear a wild take that I heard the other day? Speaking of genres of video games.
Oh,
and
I already know what
CRPGs.
this
Yeah,
is because
yeah.
you already complained about it, and it's
Sure.
fucking stupid. Let it go, Joe. But please continue.
So
No, Joe's right. It's just one of those things where it's like this is not worth getting mad about.
I'm not mad. I'm
But
not mad.
any-
I think it's funny.
But also,
Um,
go ahead.
It's all right, but yeah, it's not
So-
worth discussing. Let's discuss it.
I don't think not mad is the same as not worth discussing. Well, I was as I was saying on Blue Sky, which is why Alex knows what I'm.
Here's a
talking
here's a
about.
funny anecdote.
Yes. I clicked on a video on YouTube that was like the most influential games of every year, which was a weird
I can
title
tell-
because it
I can
starts
tell you
out-
where you fucked up.
I know what
yeah.
you're bitching about.
It starts in 1985, which is like that's not every year. That's missing a whole bunch of years.
Nope, there were no
Video
games before
games.
1985.
I actually don't think that's the I think that's fine because like video games used to suck. So like I think that's fine if you want to be like, yeah, it's not like historically accurate, but also
What
like
year did Pitfall come out, Alex?
I don't care.
82.
That game sucks.
1982.
82? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well it sucks and I hated it.
Defender.
There's
Well,
Pac-Man,
you suck and I hate
Tempest.
you.
That's fine. Let's fight.
Galaga.
What year did Donkey Kong come out?
Uh,
Oh no,
83,
also
right?
1982.
82.
Once
Turns
again,
out
I
82
don't
was
know
a
and
good
I
fucking year.
don't care because that game sucks.
Oh my god.
But anyway, so the thing that so that
guy.
was like
This-
that was a thing
Guess
where
what
I
year
was,
I was
like,
born in? Anyway, it's
No
not.
wonder
born.
that year sucks.
yeah, right. That was the thing.
You were born in 1981.
5. That's why, like, there's like a certain. I've definitely talked about this before.
This
where
person
it's
is just saying this starting with the advent of the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Right.
like, yeah,
Right.
and I think that's fine.
Which,
I
if you
don't
want to
think that's
say
the
that's where
problem.
you're starting, that's fine. But, like, every year with no caveat is dumb.
Right. So
Anyway, moving on.
right. So but the thing that of course was actually I mean, there was a bunch of stuff where it was just like it was weird. Some of the choices were I thought very strange. Like the choice for 1991 was Sonic the Hedgehog, but then the choice for 1992 was Mortal Kombat, and I was like, are we really trying to make the contention that Sonic, a game that spawned a line of sequels, which you know they are all just kind of like Sonic, is more influential than Street Fighter 2? Because that seems like a weird.
I mean, I
take
think for anyone under
to
the age of
me.
30, yes. Like
Probably.
the Sonic games are, let's be honest, not very good. But the characters are like super duper mainstays for anyone who's, I'd say, a little bit younger than us.
Yeah.
And Street Fighter is, you know, apparently Street Fighter 6 is a great game, but only if you're into fighting games. Which, you know, apologies to Alex, but nobody is.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, you say that nobody
Listen.
is, but like,
Sonic the movie versus Street Fighter the movie.
people
I
liked
think I'd
one of
rather watch
those
Street Fighter,
movies.
but-
Yeah.
Here's the thing: is like, let's just say, just to support Joe's argument a little bit, let's say the choices are truly wild. Like the best game of 19 whenever it came out was Bubsy, right, or whatever. Right, that's the most influential game, and here's my like take on why. Who gives a fuck what this person thinks, Joe? Just let it go. It
Right,
doesn't
I
fucking
don't.
matter. It
I-
doesn't fucking matter.
So
It's
was it
fine.
just some
Yeah.
random person, or
Yeah,
was
it's
it
just
like
some
a
random.
known internet
No,
guy,
not a known
or-
internet person at all. Not
Doesn't matter.
remotely.
Well, because there was a book that just came out by Jordan Miner, who Dan Reichert wrote the
Of
forward
minor
to this
2049er fame.
video game of the
Yes.
year, year by year guide to the best, boldest, and most bizarre games from every year since 1977.
That's
And so, like, there's essays in this book by Jason Schreier and Austin Walker and a bunch of different people. And like I said, Dan
Okay.
Reichert wrote the
Move on. Go
forward
on.
to it. And so, like, but like this is like a whole like thing. Also, he has Sonic the Hedgehog for 92, but then he has Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo in 95.
that.
Seems like
yeah,
a weird choice to me.
That makes some sense.
Really?
Super Turbo?
I mean, they
Yeah,
still play
that's
it.
fun,
and
man.
They still play it in
That's the Street Fighter 2
that's
game.
the Street Fighter 2 game. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I change the? Yes, I want to blow that.
But also, like he allowed the guests, like some of the guest essayists, to kind of like make their picks for some of the different years, and then he also has like a runner up or like an interesting side thing. Because I mean, there's some years where it's like what would you pick for 1998? Would you pick Metal Gear Solid, or would you pick Zelda, or
Right. Well,
Half-Life? Right? Like which of those three games? Because they're all three games that have like defined genres and like helped establish what video games were going forward in very significant ways.
Yeah. But the thing that I thought was hilarious, where I was just like, this is a person. So the person in their like preamble says that they're 21 years old, which is like obviously like you're. And as I said on Blue Sky, I did not comment on the video to be like, whoa, blah blah blah, because like I don't want to dampen someone's enthusiasm.
It's interesting to me to hear what a young person thinks was important in 1985, I suppose.
Well, but here's the thing. This is the one that got me. This was about where I was just like, I think I don't need to watch the rest of this. Is when they were like 1993 Doom, and I was like, yes, that seems correct, even though it came out at the very end of 1993. So but yeah, I mean, it's fucking Doom. And then he talks about how Doom is basically Diablo in first person, and I was like, that is an absolutely bizarre take.
For that?
And there wasn't. He did not expound on it at all.
He just said
it, and then like moved on.
Does make you wonder, does that mean that he hasn't played Doom or hasn't played Diablo?
And also, Diablo came out like several years after Doom, right?
Right.
Many years.
Diablo's
Yes.
like late
5 or
90s.
6 years after Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 or 5, right?
I know, I can look it up. I
98,
got the internet. Hang on.
97? Is
I
that
got
another
the internet.
98
January 97 was Diablo.
Listen, I can explain this. There's two things, which is one, Joe, just let it go, who cares? And two, I think what he's probably trying to say is Diablo is a game where you kind of just walk around and kill guys, and Doom is definitely a game where you just walk around.
That's every video game. Like that.
Aware of
Final
that.
Fantasy
I'm
Tactics
just
is a game
saying-
where you walk around and kill people. Like that's.
I'm
No,
just.
you don't do that much walking.
It's not
around,
true. You
really.
don't walk. You select spots on a grid. It's way different.
You do a lot of
Fair enough.
clicking and killing people.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, that's also Diablo. You click and kill people a lot in Diablo.
That's
the main
just-
action is clicking.
If I were 21 trying to think of what good things before my time were like, you know what I mean? That's probably how I would
I'm just listen.
understand it.
I'm just saying. I probably would have picked maybe a first-person shooter,
Yeah, I would have maybe compared it to something that's a first-person shooter.
like say Doom 2016,
but
for instance.
you see, you fool, don't you know Diablo is also old, so therefore it's relevant.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's listen. I make your list however you want. It's fine, but you gotta definitely can't say that Doom and Diablo are of a piece in any significant way. Or I don't know. Maybe it'd be good. Maybe there's a good essay
games.
there. Maybe there's a good essay there. You can
I don't
say.
think-
I mean,
There is
wasn't
not.
the sales
Also,
pitch
False
on-
Logic.
The,
Yeah.
the
False
sales
Logic
pitch on
says, "Oh, I
Borderlands
miss you
was.
guys."
Hi, False
False.
We miss you, Jim.
Shout out to False Logic.
Hello.
What's up, buddy?
They're still here.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
we're
We're
here
still
every
here.
week.
We're still doing this.
Most every week.
Most every week. We do occasionally
about.
miss a week, but I feel like we don't miss very often because there's enough of us to cover. pretty
Yeah.
much.
You get a critical mass.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like the
I will
selling
say
point of
I'm
Borderlands
interested.
was
I'm much more
literally what if
interested.
Doom was Diablo. Like that was literally what, and that took years after.
I think there's like a mindlessness to killing things in Diablo and in Doom that maybe they were trying to draw a connection to.
But
That's
Doom,
the best.
I mean, there's a mindlessness in the first 4 stages.
Kind of, but
Like,
not really.
Eventually,
I mean, that's-
and when I say
Yeah, I
eventually, I
know.
mean like before the end of the first episode, you cannot be mindless if you're killing in Doom or you're going to die.
Once again, I'm trying to think of like what a person who's
Now,
done and
now,
wrong
Joe, you've
was
made me
probably
want
saying.
to watch this video because I need to find out more about why Doom.
They
and-
don't explain
Why
They
is
don't
a
explain.
raven like a writing
Yeah, right.
desk?
Yes,
You know.
it's exactly that. It's why is a raven like a writing desk because you will never get the answer.
Anyway,
So,
I'm not so interested in that, but I am interested in George Miner's book because Probably
I feel like I should
listened
know
to-
that name, but
He's one of the he writes for PC Mag, and has been like working in video games for a long time. But he
So-
was on the Nextlander podcast and maybe one of the Giant Bomb shows. Like I said, he's like the list of names of contributors to that book is pretty.
It's
Pretty
pretty,
good.
pretty good, yeah.
Did we go over the list? The list is
Yeah,
listed
what's
on
Yes.
the
Yes.
thing.
Wait, can I
Alright.
briefly, Falsey said
Yeah.
something in chat. Handcraft
Absolutely.
levels are very different from the rando generation of Diablo's dungeons, but then
Yeah.
21-year-olds are notoriously stupid. I know because I used to be one.
All
Which
fair.
true.
we
All
all,
that is true.
true and accurate.
this is what I've been saying from the beginning, is like, it doesn't matter what this dude thinks, it's fine.
And now I'm like 21-year-olds. That means I'm twice as dumb.
Yeah, but what if that guy has? But that video might have like 10 million subscribers.
No,
So
no,
actually-
it's
so-
a really that's also part of why I didn't comment, because it's actually a really small channel. I don't know why it got surfaced to me, and I didn't want to be like, oh,
Because
you
you probably
dumb
watch a
idiot
lot
kid.
of bullshit videos on video games.
I mean,
and-
yes, that's
Yeah.
why.
This actually
People
so
who got mad about this video also got mad about.
as you guys know, I just hadn't seen it before, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch Annihilation. I've wanted to watch that movie for a long time.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Annihilation.
Well,
I thought we were talking about
yeah.
Jordan Miner's book. But go ahead.
Yeah, we can talk about the book. Hang on, I'm trying to make a point. It's actually
No,
relevant.
I want to talk
what-
about Annihilation.
We can. Give me one moment.
God
of
damn,
your
it's a
time,
fucking good
please.
movie.
It's a fucking great movie.
It is.
But so that's the thing is I was talking to some other friends, the people I raid with in Final Fantasy 14 about it, and we were talking about how like some people kind of like miss the plot of what miss the point of what that movie is, and it sort of broadly started working out in this bigger discussion about how like people consume and understand media these days, where
Poorly, you mean? Poorly.
yeah,
Answered
absolutely.
poorly.
And so that's the thing. It's like where
Plot hole.
there was a video which I don't remember who it was, but they put it in the Discord like chat that we were having this conversation in. It's like this guy like responded. Basically, he's doing what Joe's doing kind of right now, which was like looked at all these other videos of people being like just totally missing the
Wrong
point.
about things.
Well, not even. It's not even that just that they're wrong. It's just like
I mean,
these
part of the
video-
point of Annihilation is that there isn't that much of a. There isn't really a. It's not a puzzle box to be solved. Right?
Exactly, but
That's
the
the
thing.
thing.
is there's-
That's the internet brain.
Most
thing
movies
that
aren't.
drives me fucking
Exactly.
crazy
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
YouTube breakdowns of movies and
Yes,
things because
yes.
it's like every book or album or movie or video game is like a puzzle box, and if you just figure out like the right way to solve it, then everything will make sense. And that's just not how art is, to me
Exactly,
anyway.
and
It's meant to be
It's not.
consumed.
It's a way
and it's
to
very
like
frustrating.
engage with the art without actually engaging with it because
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, like there was literally like the video where someone was talking about like at the end of Annihilation, spoilers for like a 5-year-old movie sort of, where they're like, and so after this scene the two of them will have a bunch of like alien children, and it's like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, did you like see the movie? Like, did you understand what was happening? And the answer is no. They like
the
didn't
answer
Not
is
understand.
quite clearly no, they did not.
Yeah, is that they did not understand like what the film was actually.
Because obviously
about.
she was ending up with the fucked up deer at the end.
The
No,
bear
it's-
deer
yeah.
monster
Duh.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the best part
Duh.
of it. I mean, the movie is good. I'm not saying that's not
Yeah,
to mean
yeah.
the rest of the movie, but the fucked up weird bear monster is the best part of that.
I thought
Also,
this-
Logic
I
says
think
art
it
as
was-
something to solve is it Bane.
Yes,
Correct.
correct.
Yes.
That's like
Correct.
a thing that I really hate, and that's kind of like I feel like it's. I mean, there's definitely people like this in every generation, but I feel like younger generations are like way more. It's like more common.
I think-
So
I think
Cinema
we did
Sins,
this.
Cinema Sins ruined them. No, Cinema Sins did it. Cinema Sins absolutely
Okay.
ruined them.
But I mean,
Yeah,
like it was,
that also
it
came
was
up in first
definitely
conversation.
feel like I've been bumping into this for a long time,
Oh, for
talking
sure.
to people on forums in like 2002 and stuff.
Well, you know what
I
brought it
mean-
up in that other.
Where it was like somebody would spend like 5 hours writing a 5,000 word post about like trying, like I,
I
said,
mean,
trying to solve the
TV
art.
tropes.
Right? TV
Right.
tropes,
But also-
nostalgia critic.
But
I think
also
Cinema
in
Sins
like,
is, like
the
biggest and
80s,
most notable.
I like listened to a 2-hour, radio thing because the internet didn't exist at the time. About how all of the evidence about how Paul McCartney was dead, and just all these deep dives on crazy shit and backwards masking and this picture means that, and it was just like,
I mean, yes, Coast to Coast
AM
existed.
insert the meme of Charlie Day and his murder board,
Right.
which that just makes it come full circle.
I want to talk
at this
about
point.
Pepe Sylvia.
Like all that shit is just now surfaced because of the internet, and feeds on itself.
It does, and it's so fucking it's like embarrassing. It's like horrible. It's just.
Well, did you guys see? So the thing that was going around. So this was one of my one of my favorite things that's happened on Blue Sky so far was someone said something incredibly stupid on Twitter, and everybody just spent the day on Blue Sky dunking on it. Which was this guy made
I think you mean X, Joe. Thank you
yes,
very
right.
much.
He does
No,
not.
I do not.
It knows what it fucking is.
This dude made a diagram to explain the difference between good art and bad art, and he's obviously just a fascist, right? It's one of those classical Roman art and sculpture is good, and anything that's abstract.
Good
is
art
bad.
is naked, oiled men
Right. You're
who are strong and subjugating women, and bad art is
to the
Anything
point,
that has
lesbians.
pronouns, it has more than 4 pronouns in it.
yeah,
just
Especially if you're that British guy that was.
woke.
self-caricature
Bad
to the
art came
point of doing the fucking the Duchamp thing,
Parody.
the Duchamp's
Yeah.
fountain, and being
Cecine
what,
Pazumi.
what is this isn't even a thing, and it's yeah, good job, you're part of a 100-year tradition of missing the fucking point of Duchamp's fountain. A+. Congratulations, you made it. But it was just it's that brain. And I saw a number of years ago, a dude on YouTube called Patrick Willems made a video called "Shut Up About Plot
Yeah, but
Holes."
Joe, it's not a.
I like
It's
him.
not a.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know, but the name of the piece is Fountain.
Yeah, but it's not though.
Yes, it's a urinal. I am aware.
It can't be art if it's just lies.
Right.
You tricked me.
No,
you asshole.
this is not a pipe, Eric. The treachery of
What?
images.
Wait,
but,
what?
But
It's not a pipe.
that's-
It's a toilet.
Yeah, if it was a pipe, it would have a Mario in it.
actually, so
obviously.
I have a shirt
Is
that I
that
don't.
audio?
I do have a shirt that I don't get as much wear out of as I would like, and partially because now it's a little bit too small for me. But it's a shirt with a Mario pipe on it that says "Ne pas une pipette" underneath it.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes.
Seen that. It's
Really
good.
So Patrick Williams made this video years ago about this is called "Shut Up About Plot Holes," and I saw a recent thing where someone it was burning them up for however many years where they made a response to it, and I watched it and I was it's the worst. It's the worst of that internet brain shit where it's no, this is actually important, and I'm all you're doing is proving his point, the point that he makes in the "Shut Up About Plot Holes" video, and you're just demonstrating everything that he said was dumb.
I mean,
in that video,
yeah, I mean,
by being
sometimes it's like a poorly scripted film.
I
You
mean,
can point out this is badly written and doesn't make any
Rasputin
sense,
found.
right?
sure. I mean, yes, that does happen. But when we know when we're talking about
Yes, I
modern
know.
YouTube and Twitter film bros.
For a lot
talking
of times,
about
it's not
plot holes.
when they say plot hole, they just mean that they don't understand. They don't have
They
any
didn't understand it
imagination.
immediately.
Right.
It doesn't even necessarily. It just has to be that they
But
don't have any
like that one.
imagination.
I mean,
to
it's
try and-
literally in the last scene, he didn't have a sandwich, and I didn't see him make a sandwich. How does he have a sandwich now? And it's just well, I think you can imply certain
That's
things.
not a plot hole. That's
like-
an IMDb goof.
Right. It's not even a goof. It's
A goof. It's a
Actually,
goof.
it's not even that.
It's not even that. It's literally a
A
transition.
goof is he had a sandwich and then he didn't, and then he did again.
Yeah.
And maybe
Now
that's,
that's
not
a
even
goof. That's a goof. That's definitely a
A
goof.
goof
This,
is yeah.
Chekhov sandwich or Schrodinger's sandwich or
Yes.
what can we
If you
call
show the
this?
sandwich in the first act, you
You
better
have
eat
to
it.
eat it
gotta
by the end
fucking
of
You
eat
better
it.
eat it in the third act.
Can you imagine if these people grew up in an era when people talked on the phone in movies and nobody said hello or goodbye?
Yeah. Well, that bothers
Yeah.
Anthony.
Oh,
we know
no.
that
That
bothers
bothers
Anthony.
people all the time.
These movies, I can't understand what's happening because he didn't say hello and goodbye. I don't know when the conversation started or ended.
And they're not even looking at the road when they're driving.
Yeah, it's
What the
And the
fuck?
cars don't have rear view mirrors. What the fuck is up with that?
and these puppets are too wet.
No, the puppets are not wet enough, Eric. How dare you?
I don't think
Wait,
anybody's
Every movie
Which
needs
movie are we
wet
talking about
puppets.
now? Yeah.
Wet puppets. There's another dude on YouTube whose videos I like who makes a shirt that just says wet puppets, and
I don't understand what this wet puppets thing is, but I
that's
do
because you
like
don't
it.
watch enough horror movies, Alex. Horror movies from the
Yeah.
80s.
This
in
was an
particular.
action. This was an action cast thing. Did that guy rip
Yeah.
something off from the action cast?
Maybe he might have.
I mean, it could have
That's-
just been
that seems
people
highly
with like the
unlikely.
same brain. You know what I mean?
It's
similar
like
ideas.
it's like Marconi and other people all invented the radio at the same time.
Right, exactly.
Red Puppets was Action Cast and also this
It's
guy.
like the Dread and the Raid got made at the same time. It's just simultaneous evolution of a great idea, which is talking
Yeah.
about how good wet puppets are.
What the fuck is that?
This came up. We were sitting. I was up in the Adirondacks with some of my family this weekend.
You were
and
talking
we
about
were
wet puppets?
sitting
You
around the
watched
fire,
From
and I had
Beyond,
mentioned how I
and you
liked
were-
movies with wet puppets, and they were like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "It's
Haven't you
puppets,
listened to
movies
Action
with
Cast
puppets that are
episode
wet."
Like, have you not
It's
seen
why the original
Gremlins?
Star Wars movies are good and the prequel trilogy sucks. Is because in one you
One
got
has
Yoda's
wet
like a weird
puppets.
little slimy frog man who's a wet puppet, and the
Yeah.
new ones he's just like a shitty CGI piece of garbage.
Correct.
Like, how hard is this to understand? Wet puppets are good, and weird CGI bullshit is bad.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Bottom.
Yeah,
All right, I'm
this
on
is
board.
why I'm. Yeah, see, I was gonna make a YouTube.
This is why whatever
Make
that,
a YouTube
that new
channel.
Gremlins thing
Cinema
is going to be as
opposite of
good
sense.
as the original Gremlins, because the original Gremlins has wet puppets, and the new Gremlins thing
Yeah.
will not have any puppets. So,
We'll have way more puppets because they got wet.
I actually, this is
Oh, yes.
more the like practical versus CGI kind of maybe, but like I also a weird hole of my nerd history is that I'd never watched the original Dune, and I kind of know everything about it, but I was like, I don't know.
You mean which? You mean the fucking
David
David
Lynch?
Lynch, one?
Yeah,
It's okay if you don't watch that movie. It's not very
not
good.
I know.
great.
it's not great,
This
but I
is-
was like, it feels like
This
the
is
kind
not
of
the
thing
first
that-
David Lynch movie I'd tell you to watch.
I mean, it's
It's not probably
It's
the
not the
worst
first movie.
David Lynch
Yeah.
movie I would tell you to watch.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, you should go fucking watch that movie. It's fucking crazy.
It's
bullshit.
also
watch it.
insane, yeah.
That's actually
It seemed
what
like a totally Alex movie.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I watched it like
Okay,
today.
good.
Like
How did you?
last
How
night
much
and
did
today
you
was
enjoy Sting? Is what the question.
Sting is like the best part of the movie.
I knew that. I knew you did.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It seems like something that I should have watched. It's right up my alley, right? But like,
the
that's the
Spacing
thing, is,
Guild
like, I was-
Navigator is a wet puppet, if memory serves.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like there's a because that movie's clearly got like I know the troubled history of it. There's clearly like producer interference and like a bunch of bad edits and like you know what I mean.
They
You can
ran out
tell-
of money.
You can see the movie in there that they want, like Lynch wanted to make, and how it's like not happening. So like it's kind of like an interesting watch in my opinion, but it's not good.
Yes.
But
Accurate.
Accurate. Yeah. That's...
yeah, but what was I gonna say? But like the set, kind of along the lines of Wet Puppets, like
Yeah.
the monster stuff, like the sets and the costumes and stuff. All that stuff was great,
wet
and like
puppets.
watching it, I was
Because you did
yeah,
that shit for real.
because they did that shit for real. That's why I said this is more along the lines of like practical versus CG. But
Yeah.
and I know everybody likes the new Dune, and I haven't seen that, but
good.
like, I'm
It's
sure
it's-
it is it's genuinely a pretty great movie.
that's what people have said.
good,
and I have
but,
no reason
you know.
to doubt that. But
Denis Villeneuve makes real good movies.
Right.
yeah,
I mean,
does.
I don't know. It's definitely when it comes to CGI versus practical effects, a lot of it just comes down to who's making the movies.
Yeah.
How well.
I mean-
how
It's a
well
question of how much you
implemented
give a
it
shit.
I mean, like all of the raid, like most of the blood and the gunshots and stuff in that movie are all edited in via CG with real low budget and stuff, right? But because of the choreography and everything else in that movie is so incredible, you don't really notice, right? For the most
Yeah.
part, it just doesn't matter.
John Wick had a
Like,
lot
they
of
didn't
CG
have to
blood,
use
too.
skids. Yeah, right. Well, John Wick looks really goofy, but that's part of what. That's fine. That's part of what's going on with John Wick, and it's totally fine. But in a lot of superhero movies, the choreography is bad, and they just try and like smear over that with like colorful CG, and it just doesn't look good. And
Yeah.
it's like the best CG action sequences that have ever been shot were for Kung Fu Hustle, which is a 20-year-old movie at this point.
That movie rules so hard.
Because right, but that's because Stephen Chow is like a
Is-
genius
is- yeah.
of
Right.
of shooting what he did with that movie to make like crazy kung fu action sequences, but also be like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah, I mean he's using
Right.
using the CGI as an additional tool
Right.
to realize the vision he's trying to push, which is impossible
Right.
without it.
Well, also the more
That's
like
why
the less
this was
realistic
something else
thing
we
you're
talked
doing
about.
with the CG, that like the mask
Yeah.
also has some pretty good CG, just because like you're not supposed to. It's supposed to look like a cartoon, right? Like Jim
Yeah.
Carrey is a
Right.
human cartoon, and it's supposed to look that way. So you're not like,
Yeah.
oh, the fact that he just turned into like a Tex Avery wolf is taking me out of this scene, because like that's what
Yeah.
it's supposed to look like.
Whereas Yoda should always be a wet fucking puppet.
Yes.
God damn
That's
it.
why The Last Jedi is the best of the sequel trilogy, because Yoda's a wet puppet again, and that's the only reason.
We talked a lot about
Yeah, that's
talked a
the
lot about
only
Star
reason
Wars
Last
as
Jedi
well.
is the
Because
best.
my cousins are of the age of like they kind of grew up with the prequel
prequels,
movies, and I was.
yeah.
But then we talked. But then I just changed the subject and we talked about how great Andor was for like 20
Yeah.
minutes, and why that's so good, and because part of the reason why that's so good is because they built a bunch of sets and everything does feel like a place. They went places to shoot things, and it still wasn't. It was still like less expensive to make than Mandalorian, which is just shot in front of a fucking green screen.
And also, like,
Yeah.
Pedro isn't even the one in the suit most of the time.
Right. Anyways,
But I. Shit, what
so
was I
Alex,
Yeah.
explain to me the plot of Annihilation because I didn't get it.
Well, so there's an alien and he's attacking the Earth, and
Okay.
saying? Is it a he? Yeah, that sounds like a YouTube.
well, that's
film.
true.
Oh, I don't know, Joe. Better be careful. You don't want to get the fucking anti-woke police on your case.
Oh no.
Who knows what
yeah.
there's only two possible genders that alien could be.
Anyway, so he's attacking the Earth, and a trio, five, what's that?
A quintet.
Quintet
A
of
quio.
ladies go to
Oh
fight
man,
him.
I fucking love Illusion of Gaia.
Yeah. And so then they get the flute, and they start hitting them with the flute, and that's it. And then Natalie Portman talks to Wong, and he says that the Sorcerer Supreme isn't available, so that's why he's there.
That all tracks.
Alex, can you make YouTube criticism? Because I want to sign up for your channel.
Okay. This isn't criticism, this is a plot summary.
Please,
Oh,
please
okay,
open
yeah,
your
well, that's what I
Patreon
want.
today.
At the
That's
very,
what I want is a YouTube video that's as long as the movie that just explains every 2 seconds of the film to me because I don't know how to watch
At
it.
the
feel
very
also
end,
Have any kind of imagination of my own.
at the very end, Lady Thor and Moon Knight kiss. No, they hug. They hug. Sorry. And so
Yeah,
they're
but
gonna
one of
have,
Yeah,
well, at least one of
We
them
know-
is no longer a real person.
Modern movies can't have anything sexual in them.
Natalie
so.
Portman is not a real person.
So that was
it
a
doesn't
thing.
actually matter because neither of them are like.
I was saying,
That's not.
I
it
don't
doesn't
remember.
matter
I
'cause
saw that
that's
movie
not
when it
the
was
point
new
of the
and in
movie.
the theater. I don't remember which of them is no longer a human being anymore. Might be neither of them. I don't recall.
Oscar
What's that?
Isaac is no
in
longer a
Annihilation.
person,
Yeah.
It's hard to tell if it's. I mean,
It's
they
ambiguous.
anybody that's been in that zone really isn't human.
No longer
anymore,
completely
basically.
human. Right.
Well, but that's
They're-
also
they're
not what
all-
the movie's about.
But some of them
all
grew,
giants.
like some
That
of
is-
them grew
that is
into
exactly
the
what
wall
that
of a
movie's
swimming
about.
pool, and
I
like
mean, it's
some
not.
of them.
It's a metaphor.
Well,
Right,
that's
and some of them turn into a bush or
and
whatever.
some of them turn into
Wow.
a bush. That was the one where I was like.
Some of them
I
turn into the
identify-
band Bush.
I identify.
It was
with
really
her.
weird that they
Don't
did
get
the
Alex
whole...
started again.
Yeah.
It
don't
was
get me
really
started
weird.
on
I'm
Machine
surprised you
Head,
liked
okay?
that movie because there was like a whole performance of the Bush people playing Machine Head out in the woods.
That was my favorite part.
Like when
But,
she
yeah.
turns into the tree, I was just like, you know what? Because if I remember correctly, it sort of implied that was like she kind of decided to just like
Yeah.
be a tree.
Tessa Thompson.
Doesn't
sound that bad.
And I was great. I was like, yeah, no, that seems like a way to go in this situation. Just fucking be
You
a
know
tree.
what? I'm gonna be a tree
just
now.
gonna be a tree now.
Man, I fucking love that movie.
Seems good to
I
me.
need to watch it again.
I
I
also
mean, it's
we're
not.
talking about
You said
like,
the book
so
was good
that's-
too, Kurt, right? Or,
The book is.
What?
I just finished
Book
the book
is really
recently.
good.
There's
as
like a
well.
whole
The book is
series,
also very
apparently.
good. But the book
I liked
and the
all
movie,
three, but I like the first the most. They're not the same.
they share a tone, but they have almost nothing
Yeah.
else in common.
Alex
I mean, they're-
Garland supposedly said he wanted
Yeah.
it to be like someone told you the plot of the book,
Yeah.
as opposed to you reading it.
Well, he
and didn't
like
remember it very well.
when he made the movie, he didn't read the other
did
two
not read
books in the
yeah.
series, but he did have people tell him about them.
Yeah.
So, but he checked with the author and the author
Yeah.
was like, yeah, that's kind of the whole part of the whole point of the thing, actually.
Yeah, it's true.
I admire the hustle.
Yeah. But yeah, the book is also good. I think I said this like before, at least to Kurt and somebody else, but I definitely I like the movie more than the book, but the book is also good, yes. And it's also pretty short, so you
Yeah.
bang through it in a day or two.
Now you're speaking my language. 'Cause I don't know how to read.
If you liked At the Mountains of Madness, but you wanted to be
Less racist.
less
Decidedly
racist and more southern, swampy,
Yeah.
that's the story for you.
How do you feel about a giant slug man?
I mean, I didn't really like God Emperor of Dune all that much, so.
You
I'm not
didn't
sure I'm
drop
allowed
it
to
back.
discuss my feelings with the giant slug man on the stream. I don't know what we're rated for.
NC-17, baby.
Also, the gag order is still in effect, so
Oh, I get it.
Yep.
There was I got an alert recently, actually, that one of our videos got shifted to mature. I don't remember what game we were playing, something violent, and it was like, this has been, but it was a stream from like last Halloween, and YouTube like just
I
found.
thought all of our videos were like in the mature category.
They're not for kid. They're
in the
not
immature.
So there's a thing where it's like, is this for kids or not for kids? And you say it's not for
Yeah.
kids, but then there's like a separate thing that's like,
This is definitely for kids. Kids should definitely.
this
watch
is mature. I mean, my nephews have watched this before, for sure. But
Kids need to know about the bear that can, like, scream.
Eat somebody and then like scream with their voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I just don't like about the weird, like, you know, internet brain, like, film stuff is just that it always seems to be just so focused on, like, the literal plot of
Well,
anything and
that's
not,
why-
like, on the implications or the tone or
That's why
the...
I say it's just they haven't. It's like a lack of imagination.
yeah.
That's why I kind of hate that you guys were like, well, he's an alien or not human. It's like, well, both of them are not human because the
Right,
movie's
they're in
about
the
how
shimmer
like.
Or-
so neither...
No,
Or
it's
are they
not- it's-
human?
It's not about that. It's that the movie's about like how people respond to trauma.
Right.
The shimmer is a metaphor for trauma. Like
What?
that's what it is. That's what it is. That's literally what the entire movie is. And both of them experienced trauma and came out of it as different people and not fully themselves. That's why when he asked her at the end, "Are you Lena?" and she doesn't answer, it's because she's herself thinking like, "Am I the same person?" and can't come up with an answer. So it's like, yeah,
If
that's
you
what the
replaced
movie's
each
about.
part of Lena,
Right. If you built the Lena and then you sailed the Lena around the oceans and then like you had to put new parts onto Lena to keep her afloat,
Right.
and then eventually all the parts of Lena were replaced. Is it
Right.
still Lena?
It's still...
that's right.
I'm trying to think of like
the
what.
Lena of Theseus.
That's what exactly. I'm like, is it the Lena or is it the ship of Lena?
I think it'd
Like,
be Lenius, right?
Yes,
He is?
Ship of
exactly.
Lenius.
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, that movie kicked ass.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm glad
Glad
you
you enjoyed
checked it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I did too, because.
Now watch Holy Mountain and Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Yeah, you guys said that. I'll do it. I'll do it.
I went to a theater to see the Holy Mountain right before I moved out of Nashville, and it was
Where
really
does Santa
it was,
Sangre
it was
slot into that?
I've also seen Santa Sangre at a midnight showing. That was the thing when I still lived in DC. You didn't. I guess you didn't come with me. to
I
that
didn't go
one,
with you. No.
but I feel like that was at E Street.
I saw that in college.
But Santa Sangre is way less weird than the Holy Mountain. The Holy Mountain
I mean,
is probably
true.
the weirdest movie I've ever seen. It's basically completely incoherent.
Must be saying something, no?
It's inscrutable.
Hell
as
yeah,
fuck.
you're speaking my language.
What'd you say, Mike?
Well, that's got to be saying something. It's the weirdest movie Joe's ever seen.
It's pretty
How many
weird.
wet puppets are in it? Be specific and use examples.
Not really. A lot.
Not
Dude,
really
This
a
movie's
lot,
fucking.
yeah.
I'm out now. I
lacking
was
in
in,
levels.
but
I
I mean, they
back
did.
out.
He did make the actors take like psychoactive mushrooms when they shot it. I think. Isn't that one of the things that movie is famous for?
That or LSD, I honestly don't recall.
I thought it was mushrooms, but
no. Let's double check. www.internet.
.gov.
Yeah.
Onomata poetification says treating movies as plots with images. Exactly.
Yeah, that's just...
I don't know.
Sometimes it's vibes, which also like I mean, that's not to say that you should like every movie or like just like a movie because it's weird or whatever.
The movie has
I watched
good CGI, isn't
Oh,
that
and
right?
mushrooms.
I watched everyone's going.
Oh, both,
We're all
good.
going to the
Great
World's
taste-
Fair.
it tastes great
What was the name of that
together.
movie?
Well, apparently, so one person he asked to take LSD, according to Wikipedia, and then during the death rebirth scene, which I have no context for, he
Doesn't
asked
matter,
everybody to
the
just
movie's
take
incoherent.
mushrooms.
It's the end.
Yeah.
The end of the movie.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
We're all going to the world.
We're all going to the World's Fair. Like that movie had a bunch of acclaim, which is why I watched it. You know, it was this micro budget little thing, and I watched it, and I was like, that was kind of weird, but also it was fucking awful.
I don't know what that is.
It's
What
like
movie?
it's called "We're All Going to the World's Fair." It was.
I also heard a bunch about it.
Super
It's
micro
not
budget
just
thing.
never gotten around.
I mean, you should watch it because you might come away differently than I did. But if I remember correctly, my Letterboxd review said this was almost as boring as watching a couple of internet nerds actually play an ARG in real time. Because that's like basically what it is. It's like it's about this young girl and like older man who get involved in this like weird ARG online, but then like can't kind of like the girl especially like kind of seems like she can't separate herself from the ARG because she's lonely and her dad sucks and like XYZ whatever. But it's just I was just like this is so fucking boring. And
Well, maybe here, let me show you this 53-minute video on YouTube breaking down the plot, and maybe it'll make me feel better.
fucking of course there's a 53-minute video.
I
So
don't know.
here's 15 things that you missed in
A movie, a YouTube video
Here's-
that's almost as long as the movie itself, explaining
22
what the
things you
movie's
need to
about.
know.
Now, this is
before
also
watching We're All
it's
Going
worth
to the
noting that
World's
this is
Fair.
coming this is coming from a group of people who did a podcast where the podcast episodes were routinely longer than the movies that the podcasts are about.
I
So
mean, yes, but we're also a bunch of morons. Is the thing.
We also haven't done that for the better part of, a decade.
That's not
we
true.
did it
We did
not
it.
that long
the last
ago.
one we did, yeah, I don't know, year and change ago.
We
We
did
should
that
do-
Time
we
Cop
should do another
episode a
one
while
of
back.
those.
That got tons of views.
Yeah,
I
really, love the
disagree.
Time Cop.
people watched it for like 14 seconds.
Yeah, thousands of people watched 20 seconds of Time Cop.
Onomatopoeification says I like We're All Going to the World's Fair. So
There you go. See, somebody.
I've been to a fair
That's cool,
before,
man.
and I've liked movies before, so it's undecided.
So
okay
if you're
to
interested,
like
Kurt,
different
you should
things.
watch it because
Yeah, I mean, I didn't
liked
remove it
it
from
and
my
I
list.
didn't. So
You're the tiebreaker.
you could
Don't
be,
fuck this
yeah,
up.
You're the one who will determine if it is
Yeah, I'm-
objectively good or not, because that's
It's the
how
entire
we
internet is divided 50-50, and I'll be the deciding vote.
decide about the internet. Actually, that's another thing that was bothering me about the internet today. That apparently people are mad that Starfield
Star what?
Starfield
Starfield.
is not getting like universal 100s and the Metacritic score is
shit.
like an
I thought-
80 and people are mad about
It looks like a Bethesda game. I
it
don't know
is.
what people are
I played a
upset
little
about.
bit of it, and it is 100% another one of those kind of games, except for it's in space this time. It's a little better.
I
Yeah,
played
I
just
like-
enough to get to the character creator, and I made a character who looked like Vinny Caravella, and so I tried to call him Space Vinny, and then the game said, you have to rename your character. So I was like, okay, I'll call him just Vinny, and the game said, you have to rename your character. So what the hell's wrong with Vinny? Why can't I just name him Vinny?
I don't know.
It's racist.
The only thing that
It
I
is racist.
remember,
That is-
I guess
that's
it's
weird.
Apparently.
Against New Jersey.
not a
Yeah,
Bethesda
against-
game, I
Against
guess.
my people, hey, forget about it.
But like,
My character was named Gregor Raspyfoot, and that was apparently
Nice.
okay. So.
maybe there's another important character named Vinny later in the game, like, and so it doesn't want to like.
That was the
confuse
only thing I could
these.
think of.
That did bring.
There's
to
not
memory
enough room
that-
in this universe for more than one
That's
person.
right.
named
That's
It
right.
should just in
The
the
galaxy
subtitle it would
is-
say Vinny parentheses you and then Vinny parentheses not you.
The galaxy is infinite.
Well,
which people named Vinny.
Because Fallout 4 has
That's
the
right.
thing where it
That's
like
stupid.
it said your name.
Names are
right?
not infinite,
So
but
you
the
had
galaxy is.
to pick a name that it like had in its
Also, the
database
galaxy is
of
not
names you
infinite.
could say. Right, and I remember in Fallout 4,
don't
apparently
think
you
you
could
had
call-
to, but if you-
it would say it if you did. Right.
Yeah, it was more like Madden, where like if you picked like a name that was already in the database, then they would say your created character's name. But if you didn't, then they would just say it in text.
Well, I never played that
It'd just
game,
be
but I remember
static.
checking the name database, and apparently you could name your character Roger Corman, and so I was like, why would you ever name your character anything but Roger Corman?
Fair enough. I don't know. I'll probably play some Element,
But yeah,
I
people were
booted it up 'cause I
apparently,
wasn't sure we were gonna play it or not.
you know, because if critics don't like a thing you do like, or do like a thing you don't like, you're supposed to get mad on the internet about
We just
it.
have
which
to
is
we
just
have
like,
to we have to move on from this. We've been doing this for as long as I can remember.
It's so wild, right? Like it's absurd. I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. It's an urge that I've never understood. I mean, I get
Because
saying like I think the critics are full of shit.
The people
I
on the
think critic
internet need
is-
to validate your opinion regardless of what your opinion is.
Right. I mean, like if I had a
If they don't,
nickel
then
for
obviously they're stupid.
right. I mean, if I
Wait,
had
were they bad because it was too low or because it was
too
too
high,
high?
too low. Well, some of them
Too
probably
high.
too high because there was the
I
guy
mean,
who.
hardly.
Did you guys see the guy
the
who had
game
the
just came out
meltdown
yesterday,
about?
and it's probably like 100. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, that's a different thing.
That's a
altogether.
different thing, right? That guy's
Well,
probably mad.
that guy was like a Gamergate guy too, wasn't he?
He certainly behaves like one.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it has just it doesn't even have any. It just has they them as like one potential set of pronouns
Well-
that you can pick but don't have to. It's just like fucking relax.
So
dude.
I watched a video about his meltdown, and apparently, like the meltdown is precipitated by a character who
Yeah,
is
so
a
it's like
clone. No, the character doesn't even say they're trans. The character is a clone. It's a female clone of a male character. Which, as the
Okay.
person who made the video that I was watching pointed out, like that's like a fairly common like science fiction trope, right? Like Wolverine's daughter, quote unquote, X-23, is just a clone of him that turned out to be a girl for
Yeah,
some
but
reason.
that's just woke politics, Joe,
Well, sure, right.
or whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
But it's just like the character isn't even trans. I mean, he like blows a fucking gasket about.
Yeah, but there might be a trans person in that game,
I mean, there could be.
and else you could play as one if you wanted to.
I was actually kind of shocked that I didn't see all the usual suspects have. I mean, I guess I don't pay attention to those people, but I didn't see anything about people having an episode about Baldur's Gate 3. Because you can definitely.
What'd you say? I heard Baldur's Gate 3. I'm back. What happened?
You can make a trans character in Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know if you knew that, Alex.
Yeah, but that's because
Yeah.
the only people checking out Baldur's Gate 3 are ones that are down for kind of anything. You have to be kind of a freak to play Baldur's Gate 3 in the first place.
I mean, I can't.
It says it.
disagree.
It says it on the back. It says it on the packaging, right? they check your freak card when you go to GameStop to pick it up, and if you don't have one, they won't sell it to you. So
That's true. They asked for my internet history before I downloaded it on Steam.
Yeah,
and
right,
They
yes,
said if there's
right.
not a certain amount of fetish
Oh,
porn in
yeah,
there,
yeah. Story checks out.
Can't
You're
do
good to
it.
go. You can
When
fuck
I
with
was-
Lizard Lady if you want. It's
how
cool.
many fetish models do you follow on various social media sites? If it's not enough, can't do
Not
it.
enough. You can't do it. Yeah. When
That game's fucking incredible.
that game's
So-
fucking incredible. But when the day before it came out, I was raiding in 14, and I told my other friends, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna play it tomorrow?" I said, we were talking about how there's all the different penis options because of course that came up, and I said that I was gonna make
It
like
did
a
what now?
Republic. I was gonna
Penis
make like
options.
a Republican and inspect a bunch of
Oh boy.
genitals, which is so dark, but also, you know, I think I went with D if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know you
the
went
on
with
We all know what that
the
stands
D on
for.
the genitals
Yeah.
stands for
Stands for
Dracula.
Dracula.
Yeah.
That's gotta be the most popular option, right?
I think so. Because if I remember, D is circumcised, but with pubic hair. So it's just
So,
like
yeah. There's no size options or anything.
no,
No.
It's
Very
not like it
limited.
isn't like Cyberpunk where you can.
very limited options for dragons. Come on.
There's no.
Well, there's just
listen,
one.
The
There's
dragon,
there's one
the
of
dragon
each,
men
right?
should have
Yeah.
cloacas anyway. We already know this is canon.
Absolutely, it is.
Is it
I mean,
four
that's
for all
one
the
of my
other
favorite-
races? I didn't look at the.
I don't recall.
The what's
I don't know. I don't think it is. I think like some of the smaller races kind of get the short end of the stick, so to speak.
Heyo.
See what you did there. What about the? I didn't look at the Githyanki one. Is there?
Presumably, it looks like
It
beef
should be like an
jerky.
alligator one. It should be like a cloaca with a bony protrusion. All I'm saying.
'Cause, yeah.
And then there should be a duck person with a big long spirally one.
No.
Anyway,
Why are we talking about this?
I don't know.
We were talking about weirdos on the internet.
Should be a
being upset
regular
about
size spirally one. That's what
Oh,
I was
right.
saying.
Being weirdos about all that stuff. Well, actually, it started because people are upset about the review scores for Starfield. Because
Don't worry about the review scores, man. If you like
just-
the gameplay of the game,
I mean,
if-
again, that's the
don't worry
thing.
about it.
Like, that's
Fine.
the thing that I just
There's a-
like. Why is there a
it's got,
need for
it's got
validation?
hundreds from a bunch of different websites. It's okay.
But IGN didn't give it 100 there. You see,
I don't care.
I don't.
Like, who the
Hard
fuck has
saying.
ever at any point in time cared about what IGN
Lots of people.
thought? I
Lots of
know, but
people.
why?
Because
So
they're
weird.
the
IG
most popular.
IGN
They're the most
Ironically,
popular site.
these people have no fucking time to have played it enough to even be able to review whether it's worth it or not.
Also, by most accounts, like modern IGN is way better than.
Than the same IGN that gave
Might-
God Hand a 3 out of 10.
I mean, listen. I can see somebody playing that game and not liking it. I
can
understand that.
Right, but I think the thing about that one, which again, like I didn't like write
But
a
also,
nasty
like
letter
old,
to the
old
guy who wrote
IGN
it.
reviews were like 5,000 words, and they just described what happened in the game. And
But
yeah.
you know, I think when there's a point when a review is so bad, like the God Hand one, where it's like that's a level where it kind of almost implies that the game doesn't like work. Like 3 out of 10 is like this game is busted. That's kind of
mean,
weird. But again, like I still didn't
if-
like write an angry letter to the guy who reviewed it or whatever.
pretty close to that game is
But you're,
pretty close
but
to
you're
busted.
bitching how many years later?
See, you're still mad about it.
I'm still mad about it.
2006.
How many years is it? I think I'd say
15.
17 years later.
Yeah.
17 years.
Well, that's the infamous. That's the like one infamous term. But again, did
Also,
not,
we all know that that game is a 7.5 forever.
that game is 100%
That is the
a
consummate
7.5.
7.5. Game with very interesting ideas that it just barely works. Just like very barely held together by duct tape.
And also one of my favorite PS2 games.
I mean, that's also fair.
So, but I
If
fully
somebody played
acknowledge
and
that
said,
it
I
is
don't,
absolutely
I
a
don't know what
7.5.
this is supposed to be, and I hate it. But I understand that as well.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I don't. It's I don't know. The whole urge to be mad at reviewers is just never. I've never understood it, and I've
We're
definitely
not
never
even. If it's a
understood.
specific review that you take issue with, like you do with this Compound one, that makes more sense. That you're not
Right.
looking at the Metacritic score, going like Metacritic score is too
It's
low.
too low. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, if you want to read a review and be like, this person, like, rated this tactical RPG as if it was a first-person shooter, like they don't know shit about what they're even looking at. Sure, okay.
All right. Like I remember there was a
That's
dust
just-
up when
And also, you can just criticize things without being an asshole.
right.
That's the
There's
other
also
thing
that.
that we could just do. We can just say, I don't like this.
Like-
I don't agree with this. and
The
just-
reviewer
you know,
for EGM gave Fire Pro Wrestling Returns for the PS2, which was like a budget title of like a 3-year-old Japanese game, like a perfect score. And a whole bunch of people got like really upset about it, right? And it was just like, well, he made it clear if you actually read the review that like this is from the perspective of a wrestling fan. And like, yeah, obviously if you don't like wrestling, you're not going to like Fire Pro Wrestling Returns. Like, but if you read the review, like that's clear. Also, that's the one that actually gets me even more, is people getting upset that like a game got too good of a score. Like that's the one where I'm really like, wait, why are you mad?
Got it.
Like you're mad
Being
because
self-effective.
someone liked the thing you didn't like? That's weird.
Also, there's a million platforms. You can just go review it yourself now.
Yeah, right.
That's
I,
my opinion.
definitely.
I don't know. Let me read you this list. You'll be mad about Jordan Miner.
Oh,
list.
it's, yeah.
4,500 hours
God.
later.
Well, also, it's like these essays are not meant to be reviews, but they're more like talking
Yeah,
about like the
actual
impact of the
essays.
game on, right, like why these games are important, and less about like them being the best game of the year or whatever. It's why it's called video game of the year, not like best game. Anyway, 1977, Pong. 78,
Disagree.
Space Invaders. 79, Speed Freak. 1980, Pac-Man. 81, Donkey Kong. 82, Pitfall. See, this guy knows what's up. He appreciates Pitfall.
Oh,
83,
Uh.
Dragon's Lair. 84, Tetris. 85, Mario Brothers. 86 Dragon Quest, 87 Legend of Zelda. Oh, good night, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Mike's
Night,
going to
Mike.
bed. He's having a coughing fit. Good night, Mike. Mega Man 2, 1988. 89 is SimCity. 90 is Secret of Monkey Island. 91 is Sonic the Hedgehog. 92 Wolfenstein 3D. 93 NBA Jam. 94 Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. 95 Donkey Kong Country 2. I don't know about that one, but 96 Super Mario 64. 97 Final Fantasy 7. 98 Metal Gear Solid wins over Half-Life and
I'll say 98 is a tough year to pick.
99 System Shock 2, 2000 Counter-Strike, 2001 Halo, 2002 Grand Theft Auto Vice City, 2003 Wind Waker, 2004 World of Warcraft. Probably the easiest one to pick out of all of these, maybe. So that game still
What else
has
came
millions
out
of
in
subscribers.
2004? What would
20
even...
years later. I mean, there's probably a lot of good games that came out in 2004, but
Was that?
I don't know.
2005
Half-Life 2, Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, Halo 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, KOTOR 2.
I thought
Jam-
KOTOR 2 was the one people didn't
Katamari Damacy.
because it was like kind of busted.
Was that Katamari?
Yeah.
All right, should have been Katamari then. Fuck all these
Yeah.
other video games.
Yeah.
It's the other game that matters. Resident Evil 4, 2005, Resports 2006, Rock Band 2007, Spore 2008, 2009 Uncharted, 2010 Super Meat Boy, 2011 Minecraft, 2012 Telltale's The Walking Dead, 2013 Depression Quest. That is a can of worms right there.
That's
2014
not
Destiny,
bad.
2015 Witcher 3, 2016 Pokemon Go, 2017 Fortnite. Should be PUBG because Fortnite is literally just a rip off of that, but whatever. 2018 Smash Brothers Ultimate, 2019 Sekiro,
Smash Brothers Ultimate.
2019 Sekiro, 2020 Animal Crossing New Horizons.
I get it.
There's no 2021 apparently, and 2022 Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, which makes me
That's
want to
stupid.
read that article because I want to know why that got picked.
I mean, I really like that, but still.
I mean, there's also like I feel like if you're writing about the most influential or important game of 2022, it's kind of impossible to actually know the answer to that question without the benefit of hindsight.
Right. Considering the book was probably mostly written in 2022.
Right. I was gonna say I feel
Yeah,
like maybe he
that's
should have
true.
just stopped in like 2020 or
Yeah.
something. Because I mean, whatever. Those essays are probably.
I mean, the
fine.
obvious like pick is probably Elden Ring, but you
Yeah.
know,
I mean, you can make a case, but it probably won't hold up.
But also, I think he said on some podcast that he was trying really hard not to like repeat entries from franchises, and
Yeah.
also like I said, like this is about like cultural impact as much as anything else. So, so I don't know. It's weird that there's not a 2021 entry.
Yeah, that's weird. It's,
No video games
Also,
came out.
it's raining really hard, so I'm gonna go make sure all the windows are closed.
Is it raining men or?
Maybe.
Hallelujah.
They're not screaming, so.
Arnold?
yes, it's raining Arnold. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, all of those, I think you can, like, I don't think I heard anything in that list where I was like, whoa, that's like super far off base. Except maybe Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, which as discussed is like, there's a recency bias that is just like, it's impossible. Like, you can't possibly know what the most influential video game of 2022 was because whatever
Elden
it
Ring.
was, its influence
Elden
hasn't
Ring,
fully been
100%.
felt yet.
It might not be though, because Elden Ring, in the way that Breath of the Wild, like, was probably the most interesting game of 2017, but like it's not replicable, so there really hasn't been any, like nobody's really made games like that since. Like it didn't change video games in a significant way because nobody else can kind of do what they did.
Right.
I think Elden Ring might have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah, I mean, also it's just like there's not a, and like I find this when I do like there's a bunch
Also,
of
if you want to
games-
know what the best game that came out in any of the years in the last like 12 years, you
Dude,
can
yeah,
check
the
out.
stickies.
Yeah,
That's right.
the stickies. We mathematically solved it.
That's
so.
right. Um,
Maybe that's what we should do for like bonus mid-year things instead of drafts. We could just go back and do years that we didn't do.
Didn't do. Yeah.
I mean, doesn't that just become a draft for that year?
Kind of.
Kind of. Well, no, because we could agree.
We don't
so
have
be
to be
collaborative.
exclusive.
Yeah.
Shit, I was gonna say something. Oh, so like I play like a movie.
Start with
game.
1988.
There's a bunch of good video games in 1988, but like I played this like daily movie box office game. That's just like you have to figure out what the top 5 movies in the box office were on like a given weekend, and like you get these different clues that cost a different number of points that take away from your eventual guess. Right, so the goal is to like get it with as few clues possible. And in older years, like generally, especially the big movies, like sometimes it's super easy to get them because it's just like, oh, like today, the one, you know, and if anybody who's in the chat plays box office game and hasn't done it yet today, I apologize, but it was like a summer weekend in 1982, and like the first one is a movie that was on the charts for however many weeks, made a fuckload of money, and it's like, oh, it's obviously E.T. Because like, and some of them like shit like Raiders of the Lost Ark and stuff, especially before home video is like super duper common, is like these movies stayed on the fucking top 5 for like 40 weeks in the movie theater.
There wasn't much else to do in
And
1982.
well, there was Ms. Pac-Man and Pitfall.
You couldn't do that at home.
But like that's just an example of like there was a monoculture in a way that there just isn't anymore, right? And so like stuff like
Now it's memes.
like being like, oh, like a game, a phenomenon like Street Fighter 2 or Doom, like that just doesn't exist anymore.
I think video games is one of the few areas where that still kind of does exist. Actually,
I mean,
I think in music, it's like completely
Oh, yeah,
dissolved into
absolutely.
like people just listening to whatever they want on whatever streaming service they use. But I think in video games, it's still kind of is like the one place where a thing can like grab the zeitgeist and like really become a thing that everybody is talking
So,
about and playing.
I think it kind of feels that way depending on the circles that you like are in online and not necessarily online. Because like when I like going to like MagFest, like the year that Undertale came out at MagFest, there was a million Undertale cosplays and shit, right? But like if you look at the sales numbers, like between like whatever Call of Duty came out that year and Madden, whatever year that was, and Undertale, like 2 of those games sold a fuckload of copies and one of them didn't. You know what I mean? Like Elden Ring, I guess, is closer to that because it sold like the most out of any Souls game. It's like by a lot.
No,
right?
Elden Ring sold like it's like just shy
20 million.
of the it sold just slightly less than what Madden and Call of Duty sold that year.
Right.
So Elden, like that's what I'm saying is like Starfield is probably gonna be like that too. And so is like Baldur's
Well,
Gate.
I would say Baldur's Gate 3 didn't it hit like almost as many daily players as like whatever the most popular. Like, I feel like it almost set a. Did it set a record for daily players, or it came like very close to daily players
Something
on
like
Steam?
for like a single player game, yes.
You can play that game single player. Why would you bother?
I don't know.
Because sometimes your friends aren't around, you want to keep playing it.
I guess that's. I don't know. It kind of feels like playing Doom multiplayer against bots. I don't know. But
Playing an RPG feels like playing by yourself. Feels like playing Doom multiplayer.
spoken truly like someone who never played an actual tabletop.
Baldur's
D&D
Gate has hit
game.
5 million
I
sold so far.
have never played a tabletop D&D game. We have talked about this.
Yes. And it
I
showed
mean,
in what
sometime
you
in
just
the
said.
It's not
future.
Elden
is what
Ring,
I'm saying.
but-
Because one of the people who I used to raid with, they quit, but they were like talking about maybe starting something. So I might do that.
Yeah, you should.
Scheduling is, I mean, if
The
it's
scheduling
honestly
is
it's a scheduling.
scheduling.
Yeah. Because we're already doing raiding in 14, and then, like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's only so many days in the week.
I heard that.
Anyway.
True. You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong.
Hey, you guys want to play Baldur's Gate?
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, some like movies can still do that a little bit. Like we saw
little bit.
Barbie and Oppenheimer kind of like grabbed everything
That
for a
didn't
short
happen.
period.
Yeah, I actually just saw an article today that for the first time in however long, the top 3 movies so far this year are not sequels. And one of them
Barbie,
is
Mario,
and Oppenheimer.
Oh, is Oppenheimer that high in the
Apparently.
more than
yeah.
Mission
Which
Impossible?
I would,
or-
yeah, and like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and whatever. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, so like that's kind of weird. You wouldn't really expect.
It can't have beaten that Spider-Man movie. I refuse to believe this.
I mean, the article could have been wrong. I also didn't read it super carefully, so
Okay.
maybe it was just talking about the top
This-
3. Maybe it was the top 3
this-
movies of the summer. Well, that would still be
Maybe.
Spider-Man.
I
No,
don't-
Spider-Man wasn't summer. Spider-Man was spring.
No,
So.
it wasn't.
Spider-Man came out June 2nd. So
Oh, really? I thought it came out in May.
yeah. And also Mario came out in April. So anyway, according to this list on Box Office Mojo, it's Barbie, Mario, Spider-Man, Guardians, Oppenheimer, and that shit-ass Little Mermaid remake.
Oh, you didn't like it?
And then Avatar, Ant-Man, John
God, I
Wick,
forgot Avatar came out this year.
and The Sound of Freedom.
Oh God.
That's some
Can
right
we,
wing.
can we not? Yes,
How
it
did you
is.
know?
Sure is.
I don't know, I haven't
Jim
seen it. Who's to
Caviezel's
say?
got to stop on this fucking slave.
I was
trade.
gonna say, is it Jim Caviezel
Jim
or
Caviezel.
He has to save
Kirk
the
Cameron, it's
children
one or the
from
other.
the. He has to save the kids from the sex traffickers,
Yeah.
which are
Based on the
just
allegedly
like
true
everybody.
story of some
Everybody in the
guy.
Democratic Party or whatever.
It's Jim Caviezel. It's his autobiography.
He's
Yeah.
cute built. Yeah, he's
Ooh, these legs are
totally
good.
fucking-
Indiana Jones, Mission Impossible, Transformers, Creed 3.
Man, you want
My
to talk about a
chest.
movie that I was surprised did not do as well as I thought it would? It was Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not too surprised.
I wasn't that surprised either.
Oh, that head looks stupid. Let's go.
I kind of like that movie, but
I haven't seen it. So
I mean,
Well,
it's
that's why it didn't make a lot of money, Joe. It's
Right.
'cause
Because
everybody
I
had the
didn't
same
because
Because Joe
opinion.
didn't see it.
Not you specifically.
because Indiana
everybody-
Jones just doesn't have the cachet that like Star Wars or.
well, also the last Indiana Jones movie was pretty bad. So
Yeah, there's also that.
Well, and most of the people that would probably be motivated to go see it weren't old enough to even know about that movie.
Yeah. But also, I mean, 300. It didn't. It like had an outrageous budget, but I mean, it's still like grossed like $380 million worldwide or whatever. So.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think movies can sort of do that. But I mean, again, just like looking at old box office charts, it's like some of those movies in the '80s like stayed in the top 5 for like the better
Listen,
part
no
of a
those
they
year.
movies had to compete with Baldur's Gate 3. Okay.
They didn't churn through
Sorry.
movies as quickly.
Right,
Right.
right, because
Like,
they weren't making as
There
much.
was a year where I literally saw every movie that was available because me and my friends were going to the movies all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And so like there at one point we were looking and it was like there's nothing we haven't seen.
What else were you gonna do, man?
Yeah. Yeah, we were nerds.
Well, yeah, that's also
Some
like
of us still are.
there's a dude who's doing like a
I don't
series
disagree.
of
Nerd alert.
doing a series of watching every horror movie from the 80s in the order that they were released in the United States theatrically,
Good luck with that.
and like it sounds like a lot, and I mean it is.
Shouldn't he just
It's
give
lot of
himself a
movies to
traumatic
watch.
brain injury instead? Wouldn't
mean,
that,
that
be like
might
a
be-
faster way to ruin your life?
That might be what led to it, but it's weird because it's just like, yeah, that seems like it should be a ton of movies, but it's not. I mean, it's not a small number of movies, but comparatively, it's like, oh,
And
like you went through all of 1980 and like, I mean, it's like 15 movies or whatever. Like that's, which again is not a lot of movies, but for a whole year, that's doesn't really feel like that many movies, you know. And now, if you tried to do it now, with anything that got a theatrical release, even a limited one, like you'd be
I don't know. This list on Wikipedia is way more than 15.
Are they all theatrical releases though? Because
Oh, just theatrical releases. I don't know.
but anyways,
Oh,
I don't know. Anyways, you got to watch The Changeling, so good for him.
yeah, that's a good. Kurt, we saw that in the theater, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was one of
One of
the
the
horror
things.
fests. Yeah. It was a good time.
Yeah. That's a very good one of those. George C. Scott actually made 2 horror movies towards the end of his career that are maybe some of his best work.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that new Exorcist sequel will be nearly as good as Exorcist 3?
Probably not, but
No, definitely not.
I'm sure it won't have
Probably
anything
better
in it.
than Exorcist 2, though.
Maybe, yeah.
I saw that in a horror marathon.
Probably won't have anything as good as that scene in the hospital. That's for sure.
Well, that's definitely true. Yeah, I saw Exorcist 2 was like the 4 a.m. movie at the overnight marathon, I think 2 years ago. And I guess like my defense of Exorcist 2 will be seeing it in a fugue state is probably the best way, question mark, to...
If you have to see
If you
it,
have to watch Exorcist 2, if
Then-
you can be in a fugue state, that is...
that's ideal.
Because any other being fully conscious is just not recommended. That's the same theater that showed in one of those marathons showed Demon Fetus in 35mm, and boy howdy, that is also a movie that may be best viewed in a fugue state, but not because it's bad, just because that's a weird movie, Alex. That's what you should watch Demon Fetus.
okay.
Which I remember coming back from that experience and talking to Eric about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Demon Fetus." I'm like, "Wait, you're aware of this film?" Because I didn't know anything about it until I sat down to watch it. So,
Yeah, it's like one of those ones like Riccio, and it has such bizarre.
yeah, it's just so aggressively weird. It does not have anybody saying you got a lot of guts, Oscar. So
I haven't seen Riccio since we
Since
did
we
it for
watched
the
it for
action
the
cast.
action
It's probably time for me to watch that again. What
Oh,
an
it's great.
incredible movie. Yeah.
Okay, but can you make like a 40-minute long YouTube video called Riccio Ending Explained and explain to me why he only waits till the very end to punch the wall of the prison out? Because I don't get it.
Because you weren't free then, but now you're all free now.
Yeah. Duh.
I do still like that, even though Evo's gotten way corporate, they do end like every Evo with just the Riccio scene. That's tradition.
Which one? Which scene?
Him punching the wall
Oh,
and
okay.
just
You
you
are
are
all
all
free."
free now. That's how every like Evo for like 15
Dude,
years.
I was
He
gonna
had
say
to-
the scene where he
listen.
puts the warden in the meat grinder,
Part of being
or the scene
powerful-
where he ties his arm muscles back together.
God, because he wasn't that strong until he did that. First of all, and second of all, like you don't realize you can punch out. You like can't free yourself until you like actualize your own power, which you couldn't do until he won all those fights against all the people in the prison. You know.
Okay,
Yeah, makes sense.
that seems correct, but can you extend that into like? Can you give me like 40 more minutes if you explain it to me?
I know, but I can't give you 35 minutes of me pointing out plot holes. In that movie.
How dare you? That movie is. The plot in that movie is airtight. I don't know how you could.
It's just a guy wandering around fighting people in prison.
What
Don't
if
worry
Fist of the
about it.
North Star, but in jail? Like that's. That's
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of.
Except, wait, why is he in jail in the first place? I don't know.
So you can fight people.
so he can fight people. because they'd already made Fist of the North Star outside of jail, so they had to. That's,
The only place left to do it was in jail.
That might work, actually. Oh, but they're slower. God damn it.
Damn it.
Fuck. I just want the cool engine, but I can't
No,
get
too
legs
bad.
that are strong enough to support it.
Too fucking
Unless if I
bad.
build a tank, but I don't like the tank ones.
well, that's
Fucking A, man.
oh,
Stop
shit.
being so picky.
Yeah.
These are even slower, but they can do more. Okay, maybe that's the answer. Oh, these are the ones from the beginning. Okay. See, if you were playing Armored Core, this would be you.
You didn't buy me a copy, so how am
I
supposed
told
to
you,
play
I'll
it?
buy you a copy if you buy you a copy.
Why would I need two
That's-
copies of Armored Core 6?
No,
Alex?
I just mean I'll go get it. Like, you pay for it, but I'll pick it up for you.
Then drive it to Milwaukee.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually, that might be worth it. I'd pay 60 or 70 bucks for that, actually.
Oh. Oh, I can do it. Okay, I just have to switch my legs. Alright. Going. I'm getting the laser shotguns. I'm probably not gonna have to wait. Fuck.
How does a laser shotgun work? That I need to know. I have like
Well,
an
it's a
urgent
shot-
need
it's a-
to know.
It's a shotgun that shoots instead of like buckshot. It shoots like
A bunch
laser
of tiny
shot.
laser bullets.
Literally, yes. So I think you do actually know. You just don't want to believe
I'm just-
it.
yeah,
It's
right.
too fucking cool.
Yes. I was gonna say silly, but actually you're correct.
I mean, it's actually quite hot because they're lasers. It's too high a load. Okay, I just stick with
Right,
these
after I
ones.
beat
Okay.
Slash, I think I'm gonna call it a night on the stream here.
Alright.
A bunch of people were hanging out.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Right now it says concurrent viewers 1, which I feel like more than one of you is watching it right now, so that can't be correct,
Yeah,
but
that's-
Oh, can I do 2 back lasers? Fuck, we might be. It might be time to
now
get
we're
fucking
in,
buck
now we're
wild.
in business. We got 2 back lasers, ladies and gentlemen.
I love the back laser. It's fucking great. I want a bigger one. Give me like 2
Wow.
big ones.
What Alex wants is big back shots, ladies and mostly gentlemen, I think.
Why is it doing that? Oh, I see. That's the laser. That's the missile launcher. Okay, okay. Fuck, I don't have enough weight.
Alright,
Alright.
I'm gonna shut this stream down. Thanks everybody for hanging out.
Yeah.
That's the new Ninja Turtles DLC. I am enjoying it a lot. I think Karai and Usagi Yojimbo are both like a lot of fun to play as if you're into this game. And if you're like, if you were on the fence and you're just gonna buy it now, you may as well.
I don't
pay
know if I can
whatever,
play as a girl in a
$21.
video game. I'm a
Yeah,
man.
Jesus
Well, you could
Christ.
already play as April, so that ship
But I'm a
sailed.
man.
I don't want no video game tell me what my dang old gender is. Also, I'm Boomhauer, apparently.
Yeah. I feel like that's disrespect to Boomhauer. I don't think Boomhauer.
Yeah,
is
it
Yeah.
is. It is. I apologize.
I feel like Boomhauer would,
to
be
think
respectful
better
of
of
people's
Boomhauer.
pronouns.
He would. He would. Yeah.
Dale, on the other hand.
You wouldn't be able to understand
Dale-
what he was
Dale would-
saying, anyways. Even if
Yeah,
you
he'd be like, dang old pronoun, man.
No, that's
gotta-
Boomhauer.
That's what I'm saying. That's how
Oh,
Boomer
okay,
would be.
okay.
He'd be like, Robert, that's a dang old pronoun, man.
All right,
Just
okay,
call,
yeah.
call people what you want.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Dale would go
Don't
off
worry
for
about
10
it.
minutes about how that was stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So we've determined Boomhauer, not a transphobe.
Woke.
Dale, transphobe. Is that what we're saying?
Absolutely transphobe.
Alright.
Yeah, that's what we're going
Yeah.
with.
Okay. Thank you for tuning in.
And Hank would be against it at first, but then kind of come around.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Bobby would
Yeah.
explain to him.
I mean, Bobby?
Bobby would explain to him why it's, and then he'd come around because Bobby explained.
Peggy
it
would
to him.
try to be down, but would be horribly awful about it.
All right. Yeah. Oh God. Yes.
Just make it awkward.
Yeah. That's not good.
Boy.
And Beavis and Butthead wouldn't care as long as the trans woman was hot, and they probably
Yeah.
wouldn't care if she wasn't. They would just comment that she wasn't. So,
This has been 6 degrees of King of the Hill.
also, if I haven't mentioned it before, as of right before I log off the stream, if
Uh-huh.
anybody is curious, I think the 2 new seasons of Beavis and Butthead have been
Oh, the laser
some
shotgun
of-
explodes.
Oh no. Some of
No,
the
when you
best
charge
Beavis
it,
and
it's
Butthead,
cool.
like maybe the best Beavis and Butthead has ever been. The new Beavis and
Man.
Butthead stuff is very funny. I like it a lot.
Okay.
Also, there's a very good. There's like, instead of music videos now, they watch like YouTube clips and stuff. And there's a really
That
good one
makes
where they
sense,
watch an
yeah.
ASMR video, and Beavis says he's gonna spank his monkey.
Yeah, of course
Which
he
is
does.
great. And then there's one where they watch a girl mukbang like 12 Big Macs or something, and they start by not believing that she's gonna do it and that she's gonna complain about how meat is bad and everything, and then they like fall in love with her because she eats 12 Big Macs and chugs a giant Coca-Cola. It's very good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that sounds good.
Extremely good. So, all right. Good night, everybody. We'll be back next week with something
Bye.
else. Maybe Starfield, I guess. I don't know. I'm curious.
Maybe.
I'm not
Well,
curious
there's
enough to
Skate
download it
3.
myself, but I'm curious.